Hello, welcome everyone. I am live. Um, you know, it's been a while. I just thought it would be fun to maybe talk to some of you folks if you did want to jump on tonight. Um, I suppose it's going to be a general Q&A. You guys got questions about, you know, my recent movie shoot or low budget pictures, Warlock Home Video in general, the documentary, um, anything, horror, 80s, movies, whatever, comedy, music, comics, all that stuff. You guys want to talk about stuff, and I'll talk about it. I will say that I am sort of, I don't know, I'm in kind of a funk, so it'll be nice to talk to some folks tonight. The last 3 weeks I've just been in a really weird, like, depressed funk mode. I've been missing all my friends. Nobody's really around here in Rochester, and if they are, they never have time to come over and hang out. It's few and far between, and then the rest of the gang are all scattered around the country. So that's, you know. So I don't know. I've been missing that. I've been missing going to conventions. Getting out and doing things that I really want to do. I don't know. Just I've felt sort of gross as well, just out of shape and not right in my own skin and shit like that. So the depression has been pretty rampant. Probably, I would say, since shooting my new film, for sure. But yeah. Somebody just said, "Hey, never skip a beat. Hey, bro, love your movies." Thank you, thank you. I hope you have seen some good ones, or movies that I consider good. Um, so yeah, we'll wait for more people to jump on and start talking, and see how this goes. See if it's another good one. You know, we shall see. It has been a while, and I've been kind of busy since the last video that I posted about the horror Blu-ray and 4K collection. I know I've got some more to do. I'm gonna do the sci-fi and fantasy next, and then I'll get to action and comedy and all of that stuff. And I know at some point, I'm sure Casey and I will probably do our, the movies we liked this year, the shows or movies that we got to see, or what we liked, maybe what we didn't like, that type of thing. We always do that every year. We'll have that coming up. Probably some Halloween themed, fall themed episodes. I'm sure, of course, Christmas, like always, like every year. But yeah, so Master of the 80s. Hello, Chris. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. As I said at the top of this, a little depressed, but we're doing okay. Uh, never skip a beat. I've seen 15 or so. Love them all. It's my comfort flicks. You saved my day for sure. Ah, well, thank you. Thank you. I hope within those 15 there's some good ones. Like I said, you know, I've made. I think the new flick I just made was the 64th movie in 32 years. Um, and I like, maybe two handfuls, maybe, of my movies. The rest I'm not fans of. So hopefully you've seen like Sexquatch or you know, Phantom of the Grindhouse or Bloodfart Lake, The Weirdsies, Geek War, Wet Heat. Yeah, those are some good ones. Film Crew I really like. Um, and then there's the documentary. The documentary is out there. Um, last weekend, I did a fun. The director Zach Oliveris of the documentary. He and I we got on Discord. It was the Joe Bob Briggs Discord, and they did like a watch along of the documentary. If you guys haven't seen it, or if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, a documentary was made about me and my crew and my films, um, called Zero Budget Heroes: The Legend of Chris Seaver and Low Budget Pictures, and it's on Amazon Prime and Tubi right now. Um, but he's shot it a couple of years ago. It's been 3 years now. Um, well, little over that. He started in 2019 and finished in 2021, and then last year it did festivals, um, and he won like a bunch of awards for that. Zach Oliveris, and now it's and you can also get it physical media. Through him right now at Zodoc Films, ZODOC Films. There's a launch site for that, and you can get physical media, Blu-ray and VHS and stuff like that for the doc. But last weekend we did a fun Discord and got to watch it with a bunch of fans of my stuff. Um, and people seem to be reviewing it really well, digging it. It's on Letterboxd, I know. What do we got here? Samurai 100. What other passion hobbies are you into? Video games, for example. No, I'm not a video gamer. My wife is very much into video games. That's her thing. You know, my I don't. Everything I like game wise is old. I like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. Those are the systems that I have and that I play. But like my wife and my son, they have all they have everything. My wife has everything from when she was little to you know PS5 and all that new stuff and everything. And I watch sometimes, but I don't really play. I don't get very much into it. My wife has like a video game room, and that's her thing. Um, but I mean, growing up, I mean, in my geez, I guess in my late teens, going into my 20s, um, I had a ska band from back in the day, from '95 to '98. I had a ska band. Um, I like doing dumb music, creating weird, silly, gross music, writing the lyrics, and that stuff, and I played bass for that. But I wrote all the songs on the bass and then just translated it to the guitar and the horns and all that stuff. I was big into drawing comics as well growing up. I drew a lot of my own comics and actually sent a bunch of stuff to Image and Marvel and stuff like that when I was younger, and got some great feedback too. But it's just, the movies were always the number one thing, really. Um, just making movies since I was a kid. Love Sex Squatch, Mulva 1 and 2, The Blood Fart 1 and 2, one of my faves. They're Geek War and Ski Wolf. Love the humor, very clever, and the music. Your film's a total killer. You know the ska reggae. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Never Skip a Beat. Yeah, there's some good stuff in there, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably about 40, maybe 40 of my movies, maybe a little less, that are out there in the ether, that are out there sold through various different companies, and then there's a bunch that I sell myself, um, that I have not made for any other company but me, and then I do those Blu-rays. I offer those Blu-rays to fans to sort of, complete their collection. Like Bonejack High, House on Bonejack Hill. I just did a Heather and Pugly trilogy, which sold out. I only made a very limited, due to some circumstances, I could only make a very limited number of those, but they sold out, and which was awesome. It was very cool to see fans sort of want those 3 movies. So that set is coming. But I offer a lot of double features and like the Anal Paprika trilogy, Bloody Giblets, shit like that, Blood Trim. A lot of my old stuff too from the early '90s on, vintage Sievage, all that stuff. But yeah. So, those are the hobbies really. I pretty much stick to making movies. I mean, I love doing marathons of movies. I do little events at the house. So movies are just a very prominent, movies and TV. It's very prominent in my life. So that's really what I do. That's all I do. So. But yeah, I'm gonna be going down to Ohio next week to start editing my new film, which I'm very excited about. Any updates on the new film you made in July? Yeah, I was just gonna talk about that, Jake. Thanks for popping in. Again, I can't I can't really talk about what it is. Believe me, I would love to. If it were up to me, everybody would have known moons ago about what we shot this year. But yeah, so I'm going to edit next week down to Ohio. Frankly, the equipment, the computer stuff, all of that software that I have at the house, I am not able to handle the footage that we shot. We shot with a red Scarlett for this film, and so I'm shooting at our producer's house, J.R. Bookwalter's place, and he has all the bells and whistles and everything. So I will be editing down there. That's what I meant, not shooting, but editing down there. And I'm very excited. We shot in July. Pre-production started all the way in January. of this year, the end of January. Um, so I'm excited to get to it. You know, I've been able to be away from it a little bit, and I'm excited to dig in and really make the movie. Um, you know, I'll be plugging in some of the sounds, some of the music, um, things like that, and you know, editing the picture, really making it what it is. I know there's some visual effects that need to be done to it. So when I leave, uh, it will not be done. JR is going to take over and do a lot of the post. Um, After I've sort of like locked my main picture and what I want the movie to be, and then he'll go in and do the 5.1 sound and all that mixing and color grading and all of that. And there's a band. Uh, he just popped in. He says, "Yo, the Antibodies." The Antibodies. They are gonna do the theme song to the film, which I'm very excited about. You should check them out on all the socials. The Antibodies. Um, you know, horror horror themed rock punk, but very versatile. And so the song, of course, that I require for the theme of this film is, of course, ska. But I'm excited about that. And then when the movie's done, it'll probably it'll have like a festival and theatrical run, a small theatrical run. They'll do screenings and festivals and whatnot. I mean, it already has distribution, but I know both uh, Make Flicks and I really want to, show it out there, get a nice buzz going, people to before it comes out in physical media and whatnot. So I'm excited for it to play around before it hits Blu-ray and streaming and all of that. But next year sometime, I would assume by the end of the year the whole picture will be locked, which is cool. Yeah, what do we got here? Hey man, any idea where I can find the movie online? I miss Sexquatch. I don't know where you can get Sexquatch. Unfortunately, the company that owns it has done nothing with it. Um, we made that movie in 2012, and it came out limited. I mean, that company that owns a bunch of my films, for some reason, they do a very limited run of things, like 100, and then they just stop. I think it's fucking asinine, but so I mean, I have my copies, I have my masters and everything. They made like a DVD at some point that didn't last long, and then they fucking made like a very limited like Blu-ray that had Sexquatch 1 and 2 on it. Um, I guess when it sold out, he was like, "Oh, okay, not making more." Whatever. I've tried to get the rights back to a whole bunch of my movies from that certain company, but he doesn't want to do it for some reason. Even though the majority of my flicks he's doing zero with. He's just sitting on them. So, whatever. What do you do? So I mean, I don't know, unless you pay the $2 to $3 to watch it on some streaming site, because I'm sure Sexquatch isn't for free. I know some of them are, depending on what company has a deal with what streaming site. I don't know. I'm not privy to any of that stuff. You know. So, unfortunately. Sex Squatch, and I love that movie in particular. That's one of the films that I'm happy with, which is a lot for me. Um, but yeah. Jake, how many completed scripts, treatments you have locked and loaded to shoot? So it's funny, like before this movie. Oh, thank you, Angry. I'm glad you love Sex Watch. I appreciate that. It means a lot, actually. Um, so before I shot this last movie in July, mm, I mean, I have three concepts that could go right now. And actually, one of those I was hoping to go before the one we actually shot, and we'll see if that gets made. But there's, I've got a bunch of stuff. But the big thing is Wellsville Nights. That's the thing that's sort of like truly like ready to go. I mean, you know, we shot the pilot. It's a TV show that um, we put together, geez, years ago now. I mean, I had the idea for it about 5 years before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit, and then during that, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna develop this and really like go full bore with it. And so I got together with my cousin Casey and my buddy Clint, and really mapped out a 4-season arc for this show, and then wrote 8 scripts for the first season, and then shot the pilot last year. And going into next year, we're gonna raise money to make more episodes, and that's really what's on deck. Truly, is Wellsville Nights, because we have 7 episodes written and ready to go, and most of the cast from the pilot are still very much on board to make the show. We just got to raise money. I think we're gonna do some sort of raising money through donations or crowdfunding at some point. Going into the new year, so that we can shoot. Maybe late summer, early fall next year. Really plan it out. Because not only will I have Wellsville Nights hopefully ready to go, and we can start shooting more episodes, but I'll be promoting this new movie that I shot, going to screenings and all of that stuff, and pushing the new film. I'm sure I'll be doing conventions to promote that and to promote Wellsville Nights, for fundraising purposes and whatnot. So, but that's really on deck. There's a couple shot on VHS Warlock home video, down and dirty, gritty, gross, silly style things that we do have that are akin to Death o' Lantern and Happy Holidays and the Dingleberries. Some of the retro shot on VHS 80s flicks that we did. We've got a couple of those, and I could see one of those going, shooting at some point. Because there's like a list of stuff for those types of films that we have been wanting to shoot forever. Yeah. What do we got here? If you need some poster work done for a movie, just write me. Did a poster for Gargoyles too. Still in limbo. Anyways, my style is Think Maniac poster. Oh, very cool. send me an email to remind me at warlockhomevideo@gmail.com, and I might. I mean, that's. I just need to talk more. Sorry, see, Kruger, talk louder. It's just on my phone. Uh, Decided to go live from the phone today so that I could be comfortable and sit down in the theater room and get away from the computer desk for a bit. I'll try to talk a little louder for you guys. Sorry. Man, let me see if that does anything at all. Does that help? I don't know if it does or not. Maybe it does. Might have been really low. Maybe not. I don't know. Um, but yeah, really, I've been just chomping at the bit to get to this movie to edit. Um, I don't like waiting this long to edit something. If you know, if all of my computer had the capabilities to handle the red footage, uh, it would have already been edited by now. Jake, I mean, that's us all the time. We shoot all of my movies. We shoot in 2 to 3 days. Um, we don't, you know, we don't have the luxury to shoot any longer. I mean, this last one we shot in July was probably the longest shoot we've ever had, and that was 5 days. And I thought that was going to be luxury. I thought, like, whew, 5 days. This is going to be great. It was a fucking the juggernaut. And then, like, all through the shooting, I'm like, how the hell do we always shoot movies in 2 to 3 days? This is insane. Like, this was, like, funky, you know? And we were shooting 6 movies a year. All the time, and I just crank them out one after another. See, Kruger, am I going to the PA Horrorcon? No, I am not. Nope. I have no. Can you examine the significance of one Tim Ekibus? Nope, I can't, and I won't. Shits McFartknuckle, that's his name. As far as conventions, nothing's really set up this year. Well, the rest of the year we did a few at the beginning of the year, but so I'm set up at I don't know if you guys know this place called the Mahoning Drive-In. It's really awesome. It's in Pennsylvania. It's all retro. It's 35 millimeter, but it's all genre. It's all like 70s, 80s, 90s films. Um, they're just Mahoning is awesome, and they do these big events, and the guys who put on Creature Feature Weekend in Gettysburg occasionally do stuff with the Mahoning, and in September they're doing the Kyoto Brothers Kyoto Con. So they're doing Ernest Scared Stupid, 35 millimeter, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and Critters, And then they're setting up like a big like uh, you know circus tent for vendors to be under, and I am going to be vending at that show. I believe it's the 22nd and 23rd of September in Pennsylvania at the Mahoning Drive-In. Um, but other than that, I mean, I'm going to make an appearance. Uh, I'm just going as a fan to Monster Mania in Baltimore in October, and then on September 30th or 31st, whatever that Saturday is, I'm gonna be back at Cinema Wasteland, um, just for the day, just to go and hang out because you know, I've been going to horror conventions since 1993, and I just really I love horror conventions. But we didn't really have uh, because of the movie happening this year. I just didn't schedule a lot of stuff because I knew I was going to be super busy. Um, let's see. Can you touch on what happened with the original Malva chick? Where'd she go? She just, it was just done. It was just over with. You know, it was a really weird, it kind of turned ugly, and uh, it was just a mess. And so, I mean, I haven't really even talked to her since 2000, maybe 2001. And then when we went to do Malva 2, we did reach out to her, um, and she just, you know, wanted nothing to do with it. So that's it. That was all. I mean, I didn't really know her. She was a fan of the stuff, invited us down. If you watch the documentary Zero Budget Heroes: The Legend of Chris Seaver and Low Budget Pictures, you'll know the history of that. But I mean, that was it. I mean, there was nothing more to it. That all's well with you, Chris. Yeah, things could be better. Are you going to Horror Hound in Ohio in March next year? Chicken Wizard, I don't know. Possibly if this movie needs some promoting. They just did 1990s Turtles, Masters of the Universe, and so many more are coming up here. Yeah, Mahoning, they did that, and they did Masters of the Universe. They did Break-In and all that stuff. But I love it. It's a great drive-in, super fun. C. Kruger, hey, Baltimore Monster Mania, I'll be there. Yeah, so there's a good chance I will be there, not to promote or have a table, just to go for fun. Um, my buddy and fellow uh, member of the group, and who's an actor in all the films that I do, Sean, he runs a business called VHSPS, and so he's always set up at a lot of the cons, and so I'm just gonna go help him for that Huntsville show. I like that show. I used to go to the Horror Find weekend that used to be there at that particular hotel. The Horror Find shows were awesome, and we did great at those shows. We had a lot of fans come out to those Hunt Valley shows. Good times. Good times indeed. Yeah. See me? See me? So yeah, the Kyoto Con thing I'm gonna do in September, but then I'll just be running around as a fan at Monster Mania, Hunt Valley, and then one day of Cinema Wasteland. Again, we usually are set up at Cinema Wasteland. I just didn't have anything ready to go. Hell yeah, C. Kruger, Horrifying was dope. It's a great show. And I just love that hotel. I love that location. I like it much better than the Cherry Hill for Monster Mania. Just in general, they need to they need to get a bigger venue. I mean now they're doing it at Oaks, PA, at the big convention centers for the November shows, and that seems to be probably the way they should go anyway, because they get so packed, especially for that Cherry Hill show. It's just like, it's not fun walking around and trying to get to where you need to get to. I purchased the Heather and Pugly quad and look forward to purchasing your latest feature, buddy. Thank you, Chicken Wizard. Yes, that is being worked on as we speak. All of the assets are with Mr. Zach Oliveris for Zodak Films, and he is putting together the set. And I'm excited for people to have it. It was a very limited release. All 30 sold out, which I was very surprised about, but happy we were able to do it, and excited for people to sort of, if they haven't seen the Heather and Pugly films, now they get a chance. Plus and then the people who have seen the Heather and Pugly films, like the stuff that's coming, the extras that I put together. I mean, nobody has seen this stuff, because on those original DVDs, there were no extras. So this is cool. There's some cool stuff on there. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for people to see that. I mean, we'll do the regular, like, Halloween sale, and then there'll be the Christmas sale. I'm bringing back the Saturday morning sleepover for a volume 5 for that one, and that's going to be Christmas themed. So then I'll sell the volume 5 separately, and then we'll do like a bundle deal with all 5 Saturday morning sleepovers, so people have a nice nostalgia pack for the holidays, and that'll come out. Also, like, I don't know, like, what's happening with it, and I guess I'll be talking to JR more when I go down to edit my new film, but we also did a deal through MakeFlix for the Death o' Lantern films to come out on a proper Blu-ray release and streaming, I believe. And so, he's remastering those 3 Death o' Lantern films, and we did a bunch of extras for that too. And that is getting a release, and I don't know if it's coming out this year, but it feels like it should, because it is perfect for the fall. It's perfect for Halloween. So I don't know. Maybe that's coming out too, and I'll be able to promote that as well. Who knows? But I know it's coming from MakeFlix, and he has all the assets. I know times being irregular. It seemed like every year. Actually, I just learned that there's a YouTube channel podcast. From the guy who runs Monster Mania. Oh yeah, Dave. Dave has a podcast for that. Is there a special store you used to visit back in the 80s that doesn't exist anymore? Oh, Samurai. There's a lot that do not. Wellsville. Wellsville was a small little town, but it had some cool shops for sure. I always talk about Video Connection, our video store, but there was a place called JJ Newberry's, which was an awesome place to get toys. Ames department store, Kmart. I mean, that was just in Wellsville. But then we would go to Olean, which is where Casey lived, my cousin Casey, who plays Teen Ape. So when I would go visit that side of the family, we'd go to Olean, which was like, 35 minutes outside of Wellsville. And they had a little more. They were like a bigger city, if you will. Um, but they had Hills department store, and man, I loved Hills. Hills was awesome. Hills is where the toys are. So I miss Hills. You know, I miss Hills. I miss KB. Um, but I bought every Saturday morning sleepover so far, and it does not disappoint. Hours of nostalgic entertainment for a low price. I highly recommend. Thank you, Chicken Wizard. Yes, the new one will be coming out for the holidays. Um, that I am making exclusively for it. See, I also just saw a long YouTube video of a tour of Trick or Treat Studios that was cool. Correct. I watched that one as well, Steve Kruger. Freddie, hello everybody. Hello. So if any folks or if anybody wants some certain titles or whatever from me, and I'm going to be at Monster Mania or I'm going to be at Cinema Wasteland, just let me know, and I'll sell them out of my backpack. I do that a lot for if fans are going to be places and I don't have a table. I'll just bring certain titles that people want and sell it that way. But I think at the Cinema Wasteland one, both Josh Swire and Sean and Ramon, Sean are going to be with me for that one. We would go to Cinema Wasteland a lot just to go. And most of the conventions, if you wanted to see like a lot of the gang together, it would be at Cinema Wasteland. Selling behind the table. And so I think for Monster Mania, it's just going to be me and Sean. And Sean will have his VHS PS set up. And quite frankly, I don't know what the hell I'm going to have for the Kyoto Con at Mahoning Drive-In. I don't know. I don't know yet. Maybe I'll have some Death o' Lanterns. I don't know. I have a feeling I'll just end up selling toys and odds and ends and things like that. Stuff that I want to get rid of. We'll see. I'm not prepared for any show for movies to sell movies and whatnot. This new movie took up so much of my time. So that's all I really focused on. And then I said, I knew going into this year that, we'll do this movie for MakeFlix, and then the focus will jump right back into Wellsville Nights. So, and that's, as far as I'm concerned, right now, that's what we're jumping into next year, is Wellsville Nights, back into it. So, there were so many things I wanted to do. I wanted to go to Horror Hound. I had the tickets for this past Horror Hound and Horror Hound / Mask Fest. Couldn't fucking go. Nobody wanted to go. Really sucks. I got a bunch of lazy asses around me in Rochester. Just never want to do anything. Don't know yet. See Kruger as far as the haunted houses. I mean, here in Rochester, there's not like a lot of cool ones at all. So we don't really go here. I mean, they offer a lot, but they're just not they're not very good. So, but Darien Lake, which is close to us, they always do Fright Fest. So I think maybe this year we'll do Fright Fest, um, and check that out. See their piddly haunted houses. We'll see how that goes. I mean, once you've done Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, it's just like, yeah. And I mean that one was great, but there was also every October, when we would do the October Cinema Wasteland show in Ohio, we also went right down the street to Bloodview, which is a haunted attraction, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. So maybe when we go down for this Saturday, maybe at night we'll just head down to Bloodview and do Bloodview, because that's fun. Tiger. Dynamite Tiger. Hey, Chris, I'm just here to hear you talk about stuff. Spirit yet? It's already open around here. Yeah, already excited for Halloween. It's only August. Dynamite Tiger. Yes, our Spirit opened 2 days after we stopped. We started. No, 2 days after my birthday. So like July 30th or something like that. It opened here in Rochester, like 10 minutes down the road, and we went. So yes, we've been in. And I mean, always, come August, I always get excited about Halloween, but it's not something that like takes over my life like it does certain people. Like I've said this so many times, but if you're a horror fan, if your life is horror, I mean, Halloween is sort of every day, and that's sort of how I think of it. But I will 100% say that once it gets closer to the actual holiday and the weather starts changing and all the foods come out and all the smells and the specials and everything, I definitely get a little more excited and a tingle feeling for sure. Oh, did you ever see Evil Dead the Musical? They're touring. I know they will be back in Maryland around Halloween. No, I never really wanted to. It never really interested me. C. Kruger. Got this new shirt from Fright Rags. Monster Squad mashed with the Universal Monsters logo. Good friends over at Fright Rags. Ben Tansky. Sorry, I keep doing this. Like, yeah, I wish. All the chat keeps disappearing on my phone. one, got to get people over here, and two, it's up to them. You know, if they're not feeling it, then we don't do it. Um, you know, I've talked about it right from the opening of this show. Like, my buddies have been real jacklackers. You know, nobody's wanted to do anything. It's a real bummer. So, I don't know. I'm sure at some point there'll be some more with my buddies. Um, yes, yes, they very lazy. You know, lots of excuses. um, and then you know, a good portion of my friends are scattered around the country, so they only come in for if I schedule events or if we're shooting the movies. You know, like Gash Bash or you know, we do a thing every Christmas. It's our Christmas event, and people come to the house and stay, and we do like a whole marathon of stuff. But and that's this year is actually pretty looking pretty good because Meredith and Andrew are coming. Alec will be here, and maybe Sean and the ladies that are always here for the events and stuff. So, but the people here in Rochester, it's like pulling teeth to get them to do anything. You're like an hour and a half away. I'll come over. Hey man, anytime you want to come over, let's do this. Let's talk. Let's hang out. Let's marathon. I do a lot of marathons, my friend. In fact, we're doing a sleepover coming up September 16th. See, we're going to get the splash zone. It's very funny and fun. It sticks out in my memory, and I don't. Like musicals except Repo. Did I got right? But that's my opinion. Yeah, that is definitely not for me. The only musicals I like are Rocky Horror Picture Show, um, Little Shop of Horrors, which is my favorite, and maybe, you know, Cannibal. Dynamite Tiger. Life stuff gets in the way. Not really. It really is laziness. They just don't want to do it. Um, you know, not everybody has the tolerance for uh, hanging out, geeking out, and watching content the way that me and a few of my friends do. Um, you know, I got some people in the group that it's very tough for them to do that, and they can only do it for a few hours or so. Whereas me and another set of the group can do it day after day after day. I love marathons, whether it be binging television shows or watching movies over and over again. You know, and that's why I created that Saturday morning sleepover. Is you know, it's like this is this is what it's this is, to me. I really love it. You know, you take out you take out all the snacks and the you know children's food and garbage that we eat, and it would make it a lot easier to do what we do because you're not feeling as sluggish. It's not like draining you. um, but you know, I'm a marathon guy. I love it. Give me a day where it's just back to back movies. I can watch The Hobbits and then The Lord of the Rings extended any fucking day of the week. Give it to me. I love it. For show. managed to wrangle some people together for the 16th. It was supposed to be this Saturday, but of course, something miraculous popped in and they suddenly couldn't do it. You know, and they're the ones that scheduled it for this Saturday, so whatever. But we rescheduled it, and we're gonna be watching 6 or 7 movies back to back to back on the 12th. I know on the 16th. So, and that'll be fun, and they'll be sleeping over. Most people do when they come over. Like anytime we shoot a movie, everybody just stays here at the house. When we do events like the Gash Bash, everybody stays at the house. The Christmas stuff, people stay at the house, unless they're local. If they're just in Rochester, then they'll just go home after the events are done. But yeah, I have a good time. It's always fun. And I love when my wife really gets into it too. Like it's exceptionally exciting when she is like, yeah, let's marathon. You know, every now and again she'll get into this mood and we'll just watch movie after movie after movie. She'll just be like, hey, you wanna do a day? And I'm like, oh yay, and it's always, horror, sci-fi, fantasy, or ridiculous comedy, you know, either from the 80s or early 90s. Um, and that's always fun. Because, she works fucking 13, 15 hours a day, sometimes 16 hours a day, and her decompression is video games. And that's just how she's been since she was a kid. Um, and I'm the movie guy. It's very rare that I'll sit and be next to her while she's playing a game. It just depends on the game. It depends on the mood that I'm in. But for the most part, I'll come down here into the theater room and just watch stuff while she's playing video games. Just depends. And she's actually been on this weird, random kick lately of watching sort of any and all like horror movies or thrillers that are like on Netflix or Amazon Prime. They're just in like the row, and she'll just like click, and 9 times out of 10 they're just horrible. Um, and for some reason she's been really getting into that. She's been doing that a lot lately. And sometimes I'll sit there and I'll sit through it, but sometimes it like hurts my brain. I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna go watch something else. Like I can't do this, you know. And that's how she is with some of the stuff that I try to show her as well. Certainly my movies, She has a very low tolerance for my stuff. I'm excited for when I get to talk about the new flick. You know, there's a part of me that has this that thinks that like once we actually can start talking about it, it's just not going to be a big deal. It's just, I mean, I think some people might be like, oh, that's really cool. The majority will be like, what's the big deal? Like, why couldn't you talk about this? You know? Um, I don't know. I think he doesn't want any sort of buzz to happen and then buzz die down um, before the movie even comes out. So we'll see. We'll see. But there's, I think so. Last year, it's sort of been the same group for 20 years with me. And last year, it was the first time in a long time since we brought in some new blood. Um, and they've been wonderful. Last year for Wellsville Nights for that pilot, and they're going to continue for the rest of the episodes, for the rest of the season, I hope. But I brought a few of those guys into this new movie, and I can't wait for people to see them and to experience the characters and just to see how awesome they are and how they've melded into my style really well, and understand what we're doing and what it is to make a Chris Seaver movie. I'm pumped for you guys to see these people. Um, and it was great to have Dave back. Dave Ottavino, who was in Filthy Nasty 1 and 2, 20 some years ago. It was great to have him come back. And he plays a lead role in Wellsville Nights. And then he was our sound tech for this new movie. And hopefully we'll be going forward for the remaining episodes of Wellsville Nights with Dave. He was great. And he was great in Wellsville Nights, man. That's another one, Wellsville Nights. I look forward for people to see that. Like, right now, the plan is to, raise some money so that we can make the remaining episodes. But those who donate a certain amount of money will get a Blu-ray of that pilot. And no one's really going to see the pilot until we put it up for physical media, or which means when the season is done, and then also we're going to be putting the season on streaming. But we'll be releasing like little clips here and there. There's a sizzle reel as well that we made for Wellsville Nights that nobody has seen, and that we'll be putting up to help promote and raise money for that, for the show, for the rest of the show. Very nice, excited for the new film. Wish you all the success in the world. Thank you, Dynamite. Thank you very much. your Wellsville Night show as well. Thank you. Yeah. I hope we can raise the money to make the rest of the episodes. The pilot cost about $5,000, so I think that's that's what we're going towards for each episode. Yeah. And there's 7 more episodes that we got to do, so let's see what we can do. See what we're lucky enough to get to. Sounds good. Just gonna buy me late. My cousin Casey just informed me that Dune Part 2 has been delayed. Winter movie season is ruined. That's a bummer. I'm really looking forward to that. That was my most anticipated movie of the year. Is Josh Swire going to be a part of the cast? If so, what character traits might? I don't know if Josh will be in Wellsville Nights. He initially didn't really want to be a part of it because the style of Wellsville Nights is something that he isn't confident in doing. You know, Josh, all these people, they're not actors. None of these people are actors. They're just my buddies that I throw into these movies, and they happen to be really talented and hams. And Josh does get very critical about his performances. And some things he can't do, and sometimes it takes him 20 takes, and he gets pissed and he gets angry, and you know, if he doesn't think that he's doing it right for me and things like that. He was great in this last movie we shot. He's in it 3 times. He's playing 3 characters. But Wellsville Nights, because of, you know, it's poking fun at high school teen soap operas, dramas from the 80s and 90s, we're playing it straight with the characters, but the dialogue and the things that are the themes and everything are absurd. My weird humor, but it's being played straight, and everyone is playing like 15-year-olds. And Josh just didn't feel, you know, nobody likes to play like straight characters because they're considered like boring or whatever. You're not. It's not a character. And that's what Josh loves for me to write for him is weird, wacky, out there characters. So I don't know. I don't know if you know, right now in the 7 remaining scripts, there's nothing for Josh to do. I mean, I guess there could be a character or 2, but it's entirely up to Josh if he wants to do it. So more of a realistic role is that he'd be afraid of. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome to hear. Excited to see the flicks y'all did for Warlock that he had written, directed. His work is awesome, so it would be cool to see. Derives from him and his gifts. Excuse my ignorance. I've been meaning to ask. So you can get my movies a lot of places. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them at makeflix.com, and then you can get them from me because I I put a lot of stuff out that I did not make for other companies. I mean, you can also stream them. They're streaming all over the place. I never know where they are. I'm never told where they are. I don't see a dollar, a dime from any of that stuff, but that stuff is out there. Um, right now, the documentary that was made about me and my films is like seems to be the one that is popular right now. It was just put on Tubi by the filmmaker, and it's doing really well, I guess. So if you wanted to check out my life growing up from 1977 till 2001, I mean 2021, making movies, and all the people that do it with me, that's where you can check it out. Tubi or Amazon Prime. What about your cousin Casey? May we see any teenage-esque roles like Macho Jocks for Wellsville? I'm not sure about Casey. Again, Casey, it's like Casey lives 10 minutes away from me, but I barely see him. It's very rare that I see him. He just he has a life that is 100% scheduled, and I'm just very rarely on that schedule. So, you know, who knows? That's Alec, Alex Lambert. Yes, um, Alec is hilarious. I love writing for him. He's fucking dope. He's so funny. But yeah, I mean, he's been with us since 2009. Alec, and he's great. You know, he's great in this last movie we did too. He was really funny. He's great in Wellsville Nights. Yeah, I can't get over the Weirdzy soundtrack. I was playing that in Weird Pants song. Awesome. Yeah, it's a good tune. Tight Pants. I agree. It's a great ending. I like to have really weird punchline endings, really uh, unfortunate endings. Sometimes the Weirdsies is one of them. You know, um, Terror at Bloodfart Lake has a great ending. Uh, Geek War has a fantastic ending. No problem. Fast Fortnite Builder. Um, I mean, Casey has always wanted me to do a comic book. Um, I'm not the biggest cheerleader of that. Um, I don't know. It's a I used to draw comics back in the day. Um, just sort of as a hobby. But it's not something that I mean I love comics, but my priority is making movies, and it's like I would rather spend the time that it would take to put a comic together making something like the TV show or a movie rather than a comic. So I don't know, but never say never. You never know. C, can I send an email asking to give you a list of what sale that comes from you then? Price list? You certainly can. You just send it to warlockhomevideo@gmail.com. I don't do DVDs, it's all Blu-ray. Also, any ideas where you may have a previously purchased mask or any of the old team masks? The Meat Boop mask for Alien. For that Alien for Meat Boop. I have no freaking idea where Meat Boop is. I mean, that's just a normal. I don't know. We've had it for so long. I've been making movies for 32 years, man. I don't know where this shit is. The Teenage masks. You know, I I sold replicas for a while, off and on the last few years. Um, they sold okay. Um, we would do like a very small batch of them, maybe like five, and they did okay. So I don't know we'll be if I'll be doing that again, and if I do, I usually bring them back around the fall or around Christmas for those special sales. I always do like a Black Friday Christmas sale type thing, or a Halloween sale, and I don't know if we'll do the Teenage masks again. So we'll see. Yes, thank you. Yes, the Christmas ad we made last year. Yeah, that was a good sale. That was fun. Um, we'll do something this year, but I don't know if the masks will come back. Not sure. I mean, I guess if there were more people who sort of requested that the mask came back, I get mask to come back, I guess we would do it, but you know, um, because I have to pay the artist to do them, um, and then put a price on them for the fans to get, and I don't want to. So it really would be like a made to order type thing, and he likes to do them in like batches. He doesn't want to do just one. Uh, so who knows? We'll see. Any Grail movies to recommend? Watch The Go Fright Night due to the fact you loved it. It was great. I loved his friend, the one that turned very LVP fun teen type character. Yeah, Evil Ed. That's Fright Night. You do Big Head's face normally. You could sell some Bag Head sign, much like Teenage. And no one will care about Baghead. He was such an obscure character, you know. Baghead only showed up. I mean, there was no more Baghead after a certain amount of time. Like it just was just a random character, like Meat Boot and shit like that. I think the last time Baghead shows up was the movie we made for Troma, and what a disaster that was. I have props that I would sell for the new movie we just did. And I know they would sell if if I was able to tell people what the movie we just shot was. You know, a couple fans right now, a couple lucky fans have two items from the film we just did. I do have a few things that might go up during the Halloween and Christmas sales. I've got some old scripts that were cast used, some clothes that were used. I think I got a lot of Heather and Pugly props still. Not a lot, but a few key ones. But yeah, there's some stuff from the last movie we did that I think would fans would really like, but unfortunately I can't talk about them yet. He was in Blood Fart Lake for a moment, I believe. Don't know if it was before Mutant Monster Nazis. Blood Fart Lake? I don't remember Baghead and Blood Fart Lake. But yeah, that was before the Troma movie. We shot Blood Fart Lake in 2008. I don't remember Baghead in Blood Fart Lake. I love how long some of the names are. The only other YouTube horror independent filmmaker I've heard of is Cool Duder. I don't know how many he's made or quality. How do your movies compare to his or others, if you don't mind me asking? Actually, Sean C. Phillips, he's in two of my movies. He's in Filthy McNasty 4 and he's in Geek War, and he's great in both. This was many years ago. This was in 2010. I don't know. It just depends on what you like. Because I've been making movies since the 80s, the quality varies. From shot on VHS to shot on mini DVD. Mini DV to shot on HD to shot on 4K and now to shot on Red. Which is fucking a brilliant camera. So it's like I said, if you wanted to sort of get an idea of what this was all about, go to Tubi. Tubi is free, and watch Zero Budget Heroes: The Legend of Chris Seaver and Low Budget Pictures, and it's a documentary about me doing this stuff, and that'll tell you if you want to go down that path or not. It's all very gross, ridiculous, absurd, silly, nasty, vulgar stuff. So your mileage may vary. Do you think you'd ever be down in Cali or Portland for events or screenings? I have no idea. No idea. Love the Heather and Pugly stuff you had in your bathroom, I believe. I've got a picture that we did back in 2006. We made like professional, silly photos of Heather and Pugly. I remember he pulled out a knife and got blood on him, as well as his face changing for scenes in Blood Fart Lake. I don't know. Anyway, I do like Unicorn Something Guy. He made Lights Out and Shazam and Annabelle Creation. What the fuck are you talking about, bro? So yeah, I mean, there's a few, you know, because for the longest time back in the day, all the movies were sold on VHS. So there's people out there in the world who have, you know, original Chris Seaver VHS movies. When I first started Warlock, they were all on VHS. So people have the Warlock films on VHS. I don't sell them anymore. I think we will. We'll probably make a special VHS for Wellsville Nights, since it's supposed to be the time and all that stuff. I mean, companies have made, like, here, let me. You know, this was from Brainbuster Video. And then, you know, Zach Oliveris, who did the documentary, he offered a VHS of the doc. And then through Future Video, I know you can get Malva 2, Malva 1 and 2 combined into one movie on VHS, called like The Whole Shitty Affair. And that's from Future Video, and they also put out limited edition VHS of the Weirdsies. Again, I don't see any money from these, but good stuff, you know, you can get that stuff. Yeah, I think SRS did a very small Geek War release back in the day. Yeah, I'd love to see there was a review where, oh yeah, the Weirdsies had a, oh hell yeah, that customer tape is sick. Love that teenage flip. That's the only VHS tape of yours I own, besides my custom owned bootlegs. Hope I can run into you at a convention sometime soon. Love to see the pics of your tapes. Yeah, you know. Yeah, I've been selling at the conventions, promoting and all that stuff since 1996. And going to conventions since 1993. Well, the tape is the one I bought the CDs to parties. I was in love with that intro. Fun. I'm sure you could probably scour eBay for people who are selling a lot of the original low budget picture stuff on VHS, and then the Warlock clamshells that we did. I mean, have you gotten any of those from me, or where are you getting those Warlock titles? Um, I mean, I sell. Well, I mean, I used to sell all three Death of Lantern films. I don't fucking remember having a Kabuki Man sequel. I mean, maybe there was ideas that we were brewing at that time. I don't fucking remember. I don't know. Lloyd threw like so many different ideas out at me to see if one would stick, and I don't know. I mean, right now Doug Sackman is doing the Kabuki Man sequel. Um, but I mean, before MakeFlix puts out the brand new release of Death of Lantern, Death of Lantern 2, and Death of Lantern the remake, I mean, I have those over here, and that's what I sold. I also sold Happy Holidays and Dingleberries, and then Stoinky Beach is on the Stoinky Saga Blu-ray. Yeah, that's stupid for Bloodfart Lake. You know why that's happening? Is because SRS isn't actually fucking selling it in the proper way that they should be selling it. Why it's thrown up on eBay is fucking ridiculous. I don't know. Stupid. I am not behind MakeFlix. That's J.R. Bookwalter. Tempe Entertainment. That's MakeFlix. Director of The Dead Next Door, Ozone. You know, fucking a whole shit ton of amazing movies. But he had Tempe Entertainment. I made movies for Tempe Entertainment. Up until 2010, from 2000 to 2010. But now I'm back with him making movies. I don't like selling on eBay, so I don't do anything on eBay. Their ways are not for me. You want to buy something from me, you just get it directly from me through PayPal. I don't have to fucking go through the middleman, you know what I mean? It's just, that's something that I do see, you know? Yeah. And the releases have been great. I mean, I'm so happy with how the discs are turning out, and I love putting out these double features or triple features. They're great. Plus all the extras. This is a lot of stuff that a lot of the fans just have never been able to see. or if they were fans from back in the day, you know, now they have cleaned up Blu-ray versions of them with behind the scenes that was never released. Well, not really. That set are the movies that I made for Tempe Entertainment. I was specifically paid to make those films. Those, you know, I was given budgets and made those movies for Tempe Entertainment. Um, you know, there wasn't all the other stuff that I released myself. Um, you know, those are titles that I never sold or didn't make for anybody but for Low Budget Pictures or Warlock Home Video. You know, so that set, those 13 movies that Make Flicks put out on Blu-ray, cleaned up with all those extras and everything. Those are the movies that I made for him. And then the Weirdsies was an acquisition he bought from me. I did not make the Weirdsies for Tempe, because at that time I wasn't making movies for anybody other than for us. Um, but it was nice to finally get the Weirdsies picked up after, you know, 5 years, and to actually have it out. Yeah, they're just my buddies, and not everybody wants to be found. You know what I mean? They don't want to talk to fans. You know, they don't care. I mean, the Anal Paprika films are better than the Meter Man films, that's for sure. But they're still, you know, it's all, you know, it's those are early, early flicks. You know, I wouldn't recommend any of those films. Like, if you want to see a Chris Seaver film, watch Anal Paprika. No, 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 I wouldn't do that. You know, those movies, and the reason I put all of the earlier stuff out on Blu-ray is for completionists, is for fans who love this stuff and sort of want to get everything, and want to see, like, you know, and it's the same way with the vintage Sievage, the fan film stuff that I put out as well, like, you know, because that's like all early 90s. It's, you know, I mean, if you saw the documentary, then you know, like, it's a lot of that stuff is early stuff, and it's just a chance for the hardcore fans to sort of have everything and see where it all sort of began, where it came from. So. Yeah, I mean, if I could get John Stamos in a movie or anything, that would be great. We wanted to for years, you know, just a little cameo. It'll never happen, but it'd be hilarious. Yeah, it was great to have Debbie back. You know, it had been a long time. You know, she did 8 movies with us. She did so many conventions with us. She was a real champion for LBP and what I do and everything. And it was nice to, you know, after so long, because we hadn't worked together since 2009, and then we saw each other in 2012 because she gave me like an Independent Spirit Award thing um, at some event. So she gave that to me, and then we hadn't really seen each other. We had talked off and on, but it was great to be able to say, "Hey, I've got something for you. Um, we have a little bit of a budget. Let's get you out," you know. And it was great. It was like no time had passed, and she's just one of the gang. Slipped right back in the group and had a blast, you know. And she's very funny in this movie. She's really great. Um, Funny stories? No, it was always sort of a bitch. Um, you know, doing the Kabuki Man stuff at conventions was far more fun than doing the Kabuki Man stuff for Edge TV, which was for Troma. Um, you know, because when you're being directed by Lloyd, he's just yelling at you uh, for no reason. He's just fucking yelling. And then when the camera stops, he's not yelling and he's fine. He's regular Lloyd. Um, so that stuff was fine. You know, it is true what they say that, like, you know, if you're wearing those costumes, that they don't wash them. They don't do anything special to them. They're gross. You can smell the last person who wore the stuff. Casey only did it once. Casey only did Dolphin Man once at one convention. Um, it was me and Bobby Heckman who did more of the characters for a few years. Uh, but, you know, truth be told, I did more behind the scenes camera stuff on Troma stuff than I did anything else. So, but nothing crazy. Hope. My husband needs Blue Cheese Brothers, and is the Halloween Saturday Morning Sleepover coming out? Hope. The Halloween Sleepover is coming back. Yeah, the Halloween Saturday Morning Sleepover is coming back. All of the volumes are coming back, and I'm doing a new volume, a Christmas Saturday Morning Sleepover Christmas volume that is coming out. Blue Cheese Brothers. I think I had told him that there are issues with it now. There's issues with that master that it's not coming out right for people who got it. So I just stopped selling it. So you know, that's that on the Blue Cheese Brothers, really. No, we didn't do anything with Tales from the Crapper. And I never, and I think the documentary doesn't sort of make it clear, but I never actually worked for Troma. I never worked for Troma. I was never a, you know what I mean? Like I did stuff, but it was never. It was so like come and go. There were times where I would just go to the Troma building and just hang out with people, and then somebody would say, "Hey, Chris, do you want to do this?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." But it was never a working. I never got paid for anything. I didn't go to the Troma building to work for Troma. It was just going to hang out with everybody. Like I said, it literally was Troma did stuff for Low Budget Pictures, and then we would do stuff for Troma. That's sort of the handoff. It was just like, hey, we need help doing this. Okay, and they would do this, and then vice versa. That's really what it was. I'm just scouting out some of your possible acting work for working behind the camera. I know Tales was a messy film with a lot of people. No, Troma's Edge TV. I did a bunch of stuff for. I'm on camera and I'm behind the scenes. I also shot the New York premiere of Citizen Toxie. And I think I was also one of the characters on stage for that as well. I can't remember. That was a long time ago. And I started, they started doing stuff for us, and we started doing stuff for them right around the time James Gunn left. And this was right when Terra Firma was coming out. So I saw a lot of Trent Haga and Debbie and all that stuff around the Troma building. Hey, hey, Punky, get out of there! Come on, get out. Well, the shittiest movies to make were House on Bonejack Hill and the movie we made for Troma. Yeah, those were the shittiest. I mean, we've had other shitty times, but those were the two hardest. And that's pretty good in, 32 years and 64 movies. A lot of them, they weren't like the best of times. They weren't like the most fun to make, but every movie is hard. It's just some movies are less hard, and those are the ones that we remember the most, just because they're the most fun. But even on the shitty movies, we're laughing a lot. There's still just so much laughter, and that can be from me forgetting what I wrote and hearing it come out of somebody's mouth. It can be having to do take after take because people are laughing, people are busting up, all that stuff. So it just depends. But I mean, Deathbone was a tough movie to make too, but we got through it, and it wasn't as terrible as those other two. There's a lot of the movies we had a really good time making. So, you know. Thank you. I'm glad you love Film Crew. I love it too. Any scenes or ideas from any films you pulled out or thought may be too much? Yeah, there's always something. Nothing that we really pulled out of. I think certainly from like, uh, I would say from 99 to, I mean, yeah, 99 to probably 2010, there were things that somebody objected to almost every single time. um, but as I said in the documentary, and I've said in a lot of the behind the scenes, like it's not me, it's not us, it was all perpetuated by the idea of shock value, which is a really like cheap thing. It's a cheap gag. It's a cheap way to get a response. But Lloyd, early on, was a big proponent of us pushing the limit and sort of pushing what was uh, um, considered offensive and all of that stuff, just because he knew through trauma that people are going to remember the outrageous stuff more than they won't, you know, and that stuff can stick out. And so that's really, that was a shtick, unfortunately, a lot of that stuff was just really pushing it for pushing its sake. I would sit there and I'd be writing, and sometimes I would say to myself, ugh, or am I really going to do this? you know, and I would just do it because I knew it would get a reaction. Um, you know, so it wasn't the best stuff. Uh, Regardless of us laughing at it, because we're giant kids at heart, and we like dumb jokes like that. But it's not us as people. There was something in Philly McNasty 3, I think, that really did irk a couple of people, and so instead of them doing that particular scene, we had somebody else do the scene because I didn't take it out. Fans come over your house for your house. Okay, here, let me try to answer all of these questions. C. Kruger, then I'll get to Fast Fortnite, then I'll get to Bosman. So, C. Kruger, what are the Saturday morning sleepovers? So, regardless of the Saturday morning sleepover, I do a lot of events at my house, and a shit ton of people show up and we watch movies. But in 2016, I started doing this thing called Saturday Morning Sleepover, which, I love the 80s. I grew up in the 80s. I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s, but I love everything. I love the 80s. I'm obsessed with the 80s. And Saturday Morning Sleepover was a way to sort of relive your childhood with like minded people for a full day. So what I would do is I started editing together 80s television shows, 80s cartoons, and 80s commercials and music videos, and edit them together in a long, like, 8 to 10 hour marathon. Um, and then I would post an event on Facebook, and whoever would show up, we would that's what we would do for a day, a full day, and we would get in, PJs, and the whole day we watch 80s stuff, and eat like the worst shit, like everything that we would eat as a kid. So it would be like chips and ho-hos and fucking pizza and sodas, and we'd have cereal. There would be a cereal bar, and people could have cereals and stuff like that, kid cereals and whatnot. And it just became very popular. And so we would stuff as many people in my home theater as we could, and it just kept going. It just kept growing. And we've been doing it since 2016, throughout that throughout a year. And then last year, you know, people were like, "Hey, man, I can't. I would love to attend these, but I can't." You ever thought about taking it on the road and stuff like that? We talked about that and how we would pull that off, but an easier way was for me to offer a very limited release of 4 to 8 hours of a chunk of the Saturday morning sleepover. So I would do special Blu-rays, volumes that people could get, and I only make 25 of them, and they're for $25, and so that's what Saturday morning sleepover is. And that's outside of what we do at my home, and then I just curate a special for the Blu-rays, curate that marathon and send it off, and they're themed, and there's a Halloween themed 80s marathon, and this year I'm doing Christmas to add to it, and there'll be 5 volumes altogether that people can grab. Okay, so let's see. Fast Fortnite builder. Do you recommend working solo rather than for distribution and maybe trying to find that distribution after? Because censorship and objections can be a bitch. So, for the first 10 years of Low Budget Pictures, I just did stuff for us, and we sold at conventions. There was Cemetery Cinema that sold my stuff through on VHS through their catalog in '93, but that wasn't. I never saw anything from that, and that was just us. And then in 2001, we got national distribution, and from 2001 to 2010, I was just making movies for Tempe Entertainment and SRS Cinema and Troma, So I was, they weren't for me, but sort of woven in between all of those that I made for those companies, I made movies that were just for us, that we knew we would only release at conventions and whatnot. And that's where you got the stuff like Bloody Giblets, Blood Trim, House on Bonejack Hill, Ghoulish Chronicles from Bonejack High, the Heather and Pugly trilogy, the Anal Paprika trilogy, things like that. And then when I did Warlock, when I stopped LBP and started up Warlock, that was just all us. Until we made some better looking films to counter the shot on VHS stuff that we were doing for Warlock. And so Sex Squatch and Phantom of the Grindhouse and PIA and things like that were for other companies. But then like the main shot on VHS, trying to emulate the SOV stuff from the 80s and 90s, that was just through us. And they have their pluses and minuses, you know what I mean? The only reason sort of I went back to working with JR and making a new movie with him was because we were able to sit down for 4 hours and really hash out a very good deal. Because deals got very terrible for me as time went on, and streaming became a thing, and that wasn't a thing when those initial deals were made. So that's why I never see a dime for like the slew of movies that are out there streaming on God knows what. And but now with this new movie and going forward with Makeflix and JR now, I'm able to sort of make the deals that I want to make, and it's been awesome so far, so pluses and minuses for both, I would say. Okay, so here, let me get this Fozman. Any way to see the Wellsville Nights pilot? Any distribution lineup? So Wellsville Nights, there will be a way for people to see the pilot if they donate to more episodes of Wellsville Nights. We're going to be launching fan crowdfunded and donations for us to make more episodes of Wellsville Nights for next year. We're shooting something at the end of this year for a promo for that, and people will be able to see a sizzle reel of the pilot, but for certain donations, we will be making a special Blu-ray of the pilot with special features and stuff. So that's how that's happening. We're not putting up the pilot willy-nilly just yet. If we get a chance to make more episodes, then we'll start putting those out through like Tubi and things like that for streaming, and then ultimately a full season of the 8 episodes will come out on Blu-ray at some point. But yeah, that's what's going on right now. So let me go back here. Fans come over to your house for movie marathons. Some fans do. Some fans will drive, but mostly it's like people around Rochester, friends and things like that who want to join in. But yes, I have had fans come over, see Kruger. Fans have come to be extras in my movies. Fans have driven and flown all over the place, from all over to be a part of this crap. Fozman, hell yeah, man, sign me up for one of those watch parties. I'd hop on a plane for that. Love that Sexwatch had a VHS release too. Must have had a very limited release. Yeah, Jesus, I don't even remember it. I don't even own a VHS of Sexwatch. Jeez. I'm sorry. Is the Blu-ray footage of everybody in your home reacting to the 8 hours? Just the Blu-rays are just the content. It's just the stuff that I make for people to watch. It's not us doing it. So yeah, it's shows, it's TV shows, cartoons, commercials, and music videos, and weird odds and ends, weird clips from the 80s and early 90s that I edit together. On this channel, there is a Saturday morning sleepover specific video, and it's us talking about it, and somebody shot a behind the scenes of us doing it as well, so you can see sort of what it's all about. Thank goodness for stuff on streaming services. Fast. You can always buy my films from me that you don't have. What's your opinion on copyright filmmaking? Sorry, copyright bootlegging? You mean people bootlegging my movies or things like that? I mean, I have to bootleg my movies sometimes because I don't own copies, other than the masters, I don't know. I would prefer people not being cheapskates and helping out the filmmakers. That's how we keep going. It's not easy to do these things, so paying a filmmaker for their movie isn't that big of a fucking deal, so I would prefer they come to the filmmaker themselves and support the filmmaker, but sometimes that's not always the case, and now streaming is sometimes the only way people can see that stuff. But if they want to continue to support, then try to get physical media. Try to go that route. C. Kruger, do you still do them? Yes, I do Saturday morning sleepovers. Uh, a few times a year, probably. Um, maybe three times a year for that particular one. We also do just normal marathons, and we'll just sit and watch. And I'll do like, hey, this Saturday it's gonna be all '80s horror, or hey, this Saturday it's gonna be all '80s sex comedies, or '80s like cheesy action, things like that. And we'll do that as well. Um, but for the Saturday morning sleepovers, um, yeah, it's probably 3 times a year we'll do them. Um, the next one we're doing a marathon coming up, but it's not Saturday morning sleepover. It's just like it's a horror '80s marathon coming up in September. But the next Saturday morning sleepover is actually during our Christmas event, and that one is just you know uh, dear friends and extended family, and that's a very specific thing. So yeah. By the way, thanks for posting that lost footage from Bloodroom 2. It's a damn shame it never came out. That was some funny shit. Yeah, there was so much more footage. And we talk about it on the Blu-ray, um, where we put that stuff. Um, we talk about Bloodroom 2. I think it's on the Blood Trim Bloody Giblets double feature Blu-ray. Um, yeah, Jason and I talk about the making of Part 2 and some of the things that are lost, the footage that is lost, and how crazy that short was. It's a damn shame. Damn shame indeed. Can I get on the mailing list of any of these marathons? Well, I'd have to get to know you a little bit. It's mostly. I mean, we don't have strangers come in and do it. I get to know everybody who sort of. It is my home. So. But yeah, just come by and. I mean, keep doing these. Come see the channel and check everything out and see if you like it. See if you like me. I guess I'd have to keep talking to you and whatnot, but yeah. But like I said, you can check out I would check out the documentary on Tubi if you wanted to see what I was all about. Keep watching a bunch of the episodes on this channel down below. There's so many. To sort of give you an insight into all the stuff that I like and everything that I'm about and all that good stuff. I definitely want to, but I can use yourself to help from the cause. I'm just saying because I feel like you're just not all your stuff is on such release stuff will be for so hard to find yeah, that's true. But I don't. VHS is whatever. We're not. I'm certainly not going to be putting out VHS of all my films. That's for sure. um, those are like I said, probably for for Wellsville Nights, because of what the show is. That I think that will have a VHS release. At least the pilot will. It'll probably be part of the fan donations, what people can get. And for the most part, I got to tell you, if people here in the chat or people end up watching this, um, crowdfunding is a very odd thing, and I have mixed feelings about it. I much prefer hardcore fans donating to this stuff. I've never liked the idea of um, perks. I kind of hate it. I think it it sort of takes away from what you're trying to do, um, and you're worrying about the perks more than you're worrying about what the actual cause is. I fucking hate perks, really. I think it's a load of shit, and you're asking for more money to be added to the budget that you want for something that you're doing, just so that you can make the perks for people, and that's stupid. Here's the perk: you're donating money for us to make the thing, and then once that thing is made, you get a copy or you get to see it before everybody else does. That's the perk. Do you know what I mean? Like these making buttons and patches and hats and shirts and small posters and dumb shit like that. I've always hated that. It's such an odd thing. And so that's not going to be happening with Wellsville Nights. Really, like the only thing we're going to be doing is probably, the more you donate, then you'll be getting like a Blu-ray or a VHS or something like that. We're not going to be doing like, hey, donate this and you'll get a button and it's just not happening. It's just not happening. Like, the reason we're crowdfunding is for us to make the project. So, and I've just always felt that way. And truth be told, so many of my movies have been made just through fan donations. Nothing to do with crowdfunding, no Kickstarter or anything like that. It's just hardcore fans who want us to succeed and want us to make the project and get it done and see it to fruition. And what's great about us is that we are a proven entity. We are a proven thing. We've been doing this for so long. The movies get made. There is something after the fact, and that's a great thing. That's one of the benefits of been making these for so long and having so many movies out there and having a nice cult following of the cheese that I make. We've shot several movies in 4K, so there's the possibility that a 4K release could happen. Very good possibility that this new movie we did will also get a 4K release. You never know. It's up to MakeFlix. I've been waiting on Terror Tunes. Couldn't be more true. I seem to remember buying Geek War on Amazon a few months back. Okay. You bought Geek War? Like the VHS or DVD? Because that's something if they're still selling, if SRS is still selling Geek War on DVD. I love your stuff so much. I've got the biggest smile. You talking about it. Weird Cult. Oh, true. This new movie on this red camera. Yeah, we shot the new movie on the red. Scarlet. As the best movie we've ever shot. I mean, it's the best looking movie we've ever shot. We keep progressing with each film. Death and Land in the remake was better looking than the Weirdsies, and now this new movie is way better looking than Death and Land in the remake. So yeah, it's exciting. But I mean, we've been shooting 4K since 2012, I believe. So there's 4K versions of everything out since 2012 that we've done. It's just none of these companies are going to put them out. None of these companies are going to do like remasters of any of that stuff, which really sucks, unfortunately. But I think with MakeFlix, there's a real possibility. Definitely for this new movie, for sure. Any film showing my VHS recording setup? There really isn't. What do you mean? Like recording onto VHS? Like when we did do that? I mean, it was literally just taking the file and recording it onto a VHS just through a VCR. When we did make them. And if we do Wellsville Nights, I won't be doing it. That'll all be someone else doing that. Netflix back in the mix. I found you through their eBay. Yeah, I mean, or you just go to makeflix.com. But yeah, it used to be Tempe Entertainment, J.R. Bookwalter's company. Oh, what are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about, dude? When we would shoot on VHS, when we shot so growing up, I shot on VHS, and then when we did Warlock Home Video, we started shooting on VHS again, and we would just shoot on VHS. I just have VHS camcorders, the shit that I had when I was growing up in the 80s. I mean, I can take a picture of the VHS cameras that I used to shoot, that I shot Death o' Lantern 2, Happy Holidays, The Dingleberries, Stoinky Beach, and a lot of my early stuff. And then when we would shoot that on VHS, we just transferred the VHS to computer, and then I would just edit the way I always edit. I just edit the footage on computer. Oh, no. We used the eyepiece on the camcorder. Nothing fancy, nothing special. Don't do super chats. No, we don't do super chats. This channel isn't monetized. It was something that I never really wanted to do because this was just fun. Creating this channel was just for fun. It's just something for me to get all this shit off my chest and to find like-minded people online who wanted to talk about this stuff or listen to this stuff. I think if anybody wanted to sort of be a part of helping us make productions, then they would just get a hold of me through my email, and then it's usually through PayPal, friends and family, that way. But yeah. So I never really wanted to do Patreon because again, like this channel is very few and far between when I throw videos up. It's not something that is uh, a constant. It's, hey, I might happen to be in the mood today, so I'm gonna make a video and I'll throw it up there. Like today, I was just like, hey, I want to do a live thing. Let's see who shows up. So I just posted about it today. And that doesn't, I would feel bad doing a Patreon for something like that. When you're barely getting content from this channel. It's just for fun. It's not something. It's not a business. It's not what I want to. I'm not trying to make this anything other than having fun on YouTube and geeking out. That's it. I want to make my living making movies. So this isn't work to me. This is just fun. This is, and I'm not going to charge people to sit online and talk to me. Whatever. Or to click play and watch a video of me talking about me growing up in the 1980s, or what favorite toy or cereal, or all of that stuff, which I love talking about. But you shouldn't have to watch an ad to enjoy my stuff. And cha-ching, I'll get, and then in 3 months I'll get 65 cents. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. This is just fun. What's your favorite comic book? Seeing that Allure goes hard in Geek War. I love a lot. I grew up a Marvel kid. So Marvel is my go-to. I love Spider-Man. Thor. I love Doctor Strange. On the DC side, I love Batman a lot. Batman was always my guy. But I love a lot of independent comics as well. When Image came out, Image was a big deal, so I went full Image. But kept getting Marvel. Fozman, of course I listen to the specials. Yes. Have since the 80s. I was also going to ask, what or who has really impressioned your comedy-wise? I talk about it in the documentary, but I grew up, so my mom and my uncles really formed who I am. And, I was born in 77, and they were also young. Like, my mom was young when she had me, and so she was still a teenager, and my uncles were teenagers, and so they would show me all the stuff that they were into, and that's how I got so into everything, the music that I loved, and the comedy and the horror, and all of that stuff. Science fiction, fantasy, the Muppets, all that stuff. That was more my great aunt, and I love all that stuff. But the weirdness definitely came from my mom and my uncles, the Seavers. We're a bunch of weirdos, and so it was things like Monty Python and the Zucker Brothers. Like Airplane is my favorite comedy of all time. Benny Hill, British humor a lot. But that really formed the comedy that I loved. And then when then going into the 90s, late 80s and 90s, I'm watching a lot of Saturday Night Live, and I'm watching Kids in the Hall, and I'm watching SCTV, all the absurd stuff. And then The State happened, and then Strangers with Candy happened, and then Mr. Show happened, and all of that stuff. I love absurd humor. I love comedy. It's the best type of comedy for me, the really weird, offbeat, off-kilter, odd shit. You know, and in the 80s we're growing up also with Pee Wee Herman, which was fucking wacko shit as well. Love that, you know, so. Yes. Camera movement, character movement has to be. There's got to be something going on. You know, I can get a little over. I can write a lot. I write a lot of my monologues, and my writing can get a little crazy, and there's got to be. So the scenes can get very boring. So there has to be something going on. There's got to be movement. There's got to be sight gags and things like that happening. You know, just so every scene is a little bit alive. You know, not so stilted. You know. Somewhere asking if I didn't just imagine someone standing upside down on the ceiling, the boom might accidentally getting in the shot. I have fucking no idea. You're maybe seeing more of my stuff than I am. You into Faulty Towers? Are you being served? Great British TV. Your imaginative, your creativity is off the charts. Movement, actions, jokes, cameos. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad people like my buffoonery and stupidity and absurdity. I appreciate that greatly. But guys, I have to go. It is time for me to leave. The wife just got home. We're going to spend some time together. She has a very long day tomorrow. And so I am going to leave. But I appreciate the folks that did come by to talk with me today, tonight, what have you. And, you know, if you guys want to stay up to date on things, please just write to me at warlockhomevideo@gmail.com, and I will give you all my info, my Instagram, my Facebooks. You know, I update that stuff almost daily, so there's always news coming out. And then thank you for subscribing to this channel and enjoying the channel and watching all the videos and all that stuff. So I will see you guys soon. Maybe. Possibly. Who the hell knows? Alright guys. Bye.